What it do? Once again, the Into the Cypher podcast. I am your host, your barista, your yoga instructor, your driving instructor on this journey. Cypher the MC, the Muhammad Ali of MCs. Hopefully, peace and blessings to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is having a good day so far. No matter where you are in the world, you could have been anywhere in the world. You most likely are, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Shout out to Jay-Z. Hopefully everyone is having a good day thus far. So before we get into anything, you know we have to get our disclaimers out the way. We have to get them out the way. We have to. I am not a relationship expert. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a family therapist or anything of that nature. I don't have a master's or a doctorate from Harvard. I am just a regular Joe Schmo. Just a regular guy that looks at things maybe from a different perspective and just want to bring that perspective here to help us grow and help us to be the best version of ourselves. I believe in looking at self first. So now that we got that out the way, if you're new to the podcast, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully it's not going to be a disappointment. Hopefully not. We're going to learn, we're going to grow, and that's the whole point. We're going to learn and grow. Now, with this being said, you know what the topic of today's podcast is: the dynamics of relationships. And we're going to explore 4 relationships and just kind of, maybe not look at them in depth, but just kind of just look at them as a whole and what they mean to us and how we can make them either stronger or how to get them to the point where it's mutually beneficial. Because a lot of us, I put it to you like this, a lot of us, me myself, for those that have been listeners for a while, I use myself as an example for the most part, because I don't want it to seem that I'm just talking from a soapbox or that I'm making up scenarios or I don't know what I'm talking about. I have to talk from experience. And for me myself, relationships have either been a key factor in my growth or there came a point where they were detracting from my growth. And the hardest part for many of us, I feel, is that when we are in relationships, even though it may not be beneficial to us, we're so used to having this person or these people around that we are stunting our own growth. We're stagnant. We're not moving. But we don't want to get rid of the people, or not really get rid of them. Not in a Carlitos way sort of way, but kind of just like, you know what? I need to be over here in my area. You need to stay right here. And I need to grow. So, many of us don't want to kind of let that go because of I'm just so used to having them around. I'm so used to them being there. Well, then you're always going to be used to what you're used to. And if you're not growing, then you're going to be used to not progressing, and you're going to be frustrated, and so on and so forth. So let's get right into it. Like I said, there's four key relationships for the most part. I mean, you can definitely go online and of course do your research. There's so many more. I think there's 4 major ones. Then of course they break them down into more specifics, but I just wanted to bring 4 just to keep it very simple. You have your friendships. You have your family or your familial relationships. You have your working or your interpersonal relationships. And then you have those the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, fiance, the romance or romantic relationships for the most part. So those are your 4. Those are your top 4. These are the top 4 that are going to get into the college football playoffs, okay? And I want to look at it from the perspective of really two main ones. I'm going to address the other two, of course, but the two main ones that I really want to focus on are the friendships and, of course, the more romantic relationships there. Because when we're trying to grow, when we're trying to get better, and this is for the individuals that are actually trying. I'm not talking about the ones that are just, laid back and, maybe you've reached that pinnacle of success and you're fine with that. You don't want to grow anymore. You don't want to expand your mind anymore. You don't want to progress anymore. These are for the individuals that are actually trying to do just that. They haven't found their purpose as of yet. They haven't found that thing, that makes them, move. So the first one I want to tackle is friendships. Friendships. In my humble opinion, friendships should always be the strongest type of relationship. It should be the foundation. It should, no matter what path that you and the other individual or even people go on, the friendship should always remain. Now, oftentimes that's a little bit difficult, especially when you start getting emotions involved and feelings and all that, all that ooey gooey stuff. It's kind of hard because it's on a different level. Sometimes when relationships start to evolve beyond friendships, you go from, dating this person, we're talking to this person on the phone. Hey, we're just hanging out, blase, and then all of a sudden he likes her or she likes him or whatever middle school type of relationship, however it starts. Then it becomes okay, well now we're dating, this automatically, okay, if there's a label attached to it, basically, then it has evolved from a friendship. The friendships should still remain, but how often is it really focused on? I mean, if you were able to talk about everything with this person as a friend, how or why does it change when when the two of you become more romantically involved? Like if he could tell you just about anything about what's going on, with his best friends or his family, or maybe even other girls that he may have been talking to or what have you, and we're all adults here, we're all grown, as they like to say. Oftentimes, if he's dealing with multiple women before he's talking to one girl specifically, she's ultimately going to feel that she's better than the other women on some level, and hence he's talking to her about those situations, or vice versa, or she's been dealing with dating this guy or whatever, and then he feels I can save you from all those bad experiences, come be my boo or my bae or whatever childish nickname you have for them, my pudding pop, my sugar bear, whatever. The fact of the matter is, the friendship should still be as strong. Like if you two were to go your separate ways right now, right at this moment, could you call the person that you're currently with a friend, that you'll still talk to them, call them, hey, I wanted to get your advice on, so I'm dating this guy, or all right, so I'm dating this girl, right? So blase, it may feel awkward. We're not going to discount that. It's not going to feel like it's, like nothing happened between you and this other person. But if the friendship is still strong, if the friendship was still nurtured during the course of whatever path the relationship took further, then of course, if you were to break up, so to speak, go your separate ways, at least in a romantic sense, you should still be able to do what? Talk to that other person. I mean, in theory. Maybe I'm living in a fantasy land, but I think this is where, when it comes to things outside of our relationships, those things outside that, help us to progress and grow, they tend to suffer because of where the priority is when it comes to the relationship. Like, have you ever been so distraught over a breakup, or, your work suffers? You don't go work out as much, maybe. You don't hang out with your friends as much. You don't want to be around people as much. It tends to look like, because the relationship went south, your whole path, your whole journey that you were on also goes south. So that's why I feel that friendships should be the strongest. They should just definitely be the strongest form of relationship, because it should be the foundation of any of the other relationships themselves. So that's something I want you to definitely think about. Look at where you are right now and in whatever relationship that you're in, and see, is it strong? Is the friendship strong? Can I talk to this person or these individuals about anything? And now, a word from our sponsors. Are you someone that is ready to strike out on their own and get their first apartment? You and your roommates are all ready and set to go to live the good life and pretty much get your life started? Or are you about to leave college and looking for a new place to live in a new city with your new degree? Well, guess what? There's a company called Credit Rent Boost that will allow you to get credit for the rent that you pay and get it reported to the credit bureaus. This will not only allow you to boost your credit, but also set you up long term, so when you are ready to make your first purchase as a homeowner. So give them a try. CreditRentBoost.com, and you can use promotion code OVM24522. It may be the best decision you ever made. I gotta admit that guy does have a nice voice. He sounds familiar. Nice guy. But we're back talking about relationships, and friendship should definitely be the foundation. Like, you should be able to talk about anything and everything with this individual without there being any sort of, oh, I can't stand him, or I can't stand her, or they always got something to say, blase, blase. I mean, we're human beings. Human beings are fickle, petty creatures. I mean, don't get me started. But human beings are the pettiest creatures that God has ever created. No other animals attack other animals the same way. Animals don't talk about other animals and gossip about them, and oh, I can't stand that lion over there, or that jaguar over there, or that those flock of birds over there. I can't stand them. No, that's human beings. Because we don't operate off of instinct, we operate off of emotions. And I mean, scientifically, we don't even know if animals have emotions. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really done my research. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to relationships and how they evolve, much of it is based off of how we interact with each other, that connection. Because that's what a relationship is a connection. It's a bond. Now, to the other end of the actual, what do you want to call it? The other end of the spectrum, when you have your romantical relationships there, like, your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, husband, wife type of relationships. The question should be, okay, why do they go awry over time? Like over time, why do they tend to fall or falter? So, let's remove the factors of, oh, well, he cheated, she cheated. Oh, financially, they couldn't get, their money right and things of that nature. Last season, we spoke about why relationships, marriages tend to fail. And it doesn't have anything to, I'm not going to say anything. It's not really based on finances. A lot of relationships may be based around finances and fail in that regards. A lot of it may be dealing with, he stepped out of the marriage, she stepped out of marriage, and then you have to analyze, okay, like, why would they do that? Are they just that type of person, or was it some factor that propelled them on that path? Still, it was a choice, but what factors propelled them on that path? But the real reason why we're kind of at a 50-50 success rate when it comes to, marriage is because of unrealistic expectations. Let me say that again, because I'm sure many of you may, if you sit there and think about it for a second, relationships, especially husband and wife marriages, unrealistic expectations. Now let's, just think about that for a second. Like you as a man, you probably came into this marriage thinking, okay, during the course of us being fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, she was this way, and then it seems things kind of changed once the ring was put on her finger. Or before, we got married, he was this way, he was loving, he was catering to me, he was doing everything for me. Now that we're married, that's either, slowed down or halted. And that pretty much comes from maybe a lack of communication, maybe a lack of actually saying, okay, this is what I expect from you. This is what I expect from you. This is what you expect from me. Okay, let's make sure that we're on the same page before we take it any further. And oftentimes, there's never a discussion like that. Why? Because by this time, if you're considering marrying someone, you've been with them for X amount of years. You've been with them for a period of time now, so now it's kind of I'm just used to this person. I don't want to go back out there and start dating. I don't want to get used to someone else. And what happens? We tend to kind of just let things be. We kind of tolerate things to a certain degree. So while we're tolerating certain things, the situation is not really changing. You're not really maybe communicating as effectively because you don't want to argue, you don't want to fight, you don't want to have a disagreement, because then that upsets the whole household. And now you got to go to work, and try to put on a face that everything is okay when it really is not. Why? Because when you don't have those strong foundations to where you can lean on, hey, I need to talk to you about something that's affecting us. It's affecting me, but it's also affecting us. That stems from being able to have a strong foundation of friendship. Now, we're adults here. We're all grown. We all listen to 80s music. Oftentimes, a physical relationship may precede an emotional relationship before that friendship is actually made stronger. So sometimes you have to kind of scale it back, or you may have to say, you know what, we're going to put this in neutral for right now. We're going to put the physical aspect in neutral so we can kind of focus on our emotional connection, our mental connection, and see if we're more compatible that way. Because human beings have to be around other human beings. Even if you're a hermit somewhere, you didn't start off as a hermit. You were around people, and then you decided, you know what, I don't want to be around people anymore. But outside of hermits, and no offense to my hermit listeners, the fact of the matter is human beings are drawn to other human beings. Even if you go through a bad breakup, ladies, guess what? Eventually, you're going to start looking at some form of relationship with someone. The same thing goes for men. The only difference is it depends on the dynamics of what led to the breakup and how you rebound from that. As we discussed in the last episode, most men, they kind of physically rebound. They don't know how to emotionally rebound. But for the most part, when it comes to the end of the spectrum relationship where it's more in depth and more involved, what leads to those individuals no longer being together? Something changes. Something clicks. Either he is growing and she is not, or she is growing and he is not. Now, the level of growth depends on what it is that you're doing. If she wants to go back to school and he's still the same old, then guess what? She's going to be evolving at a different rate than he is. Now, depending on how strong the friendship was, is going to determine how they evolve now with her new evolution. Because no matter how long you've been together, I know we like to look at things as, oh, they're one, they're a couple, they're one. In a sense, yes, but there's still two different people. He has his opinions, she has her opinions. There's still two different people. So, in essence, they're still individuals. They're still going to be trying to figure out what they want to do, how they're going to make it work. Sometimes it does, depending on how strong the friendship was and communication is to evolve. So that's something to think about. How can you make something work if the evolution of one person is progressing more than the evolution of another person? And of course, we have our working relationships, individuals that we, work with and things of that nature. We see them, every day. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Those are key for us as well, because they provide a balance. They provide a balance for us that we're not just solely focused on the next group, family, all the time. Because sometimes you can get so wrapped up in family that you lose sight of yourself. This goes for any relationship, but oftentimes, for many of us, family dictates what we're going to do with our life. Like, are we, if they support us, we're going to be gung ho. I'm going to do this. If they don't support us, many of us just stop and just kind of falter. I want each and every one of you to kind of look at things and say to yourself, you know what? I need to make sure that I'm good. Regardless if family supports me or not, regardless if my coworkers supports me or not, I have to make sure that I am firm in what I want to do. And this all goes back to when you find your purpose, when you find out exactly what you are passionate about, what you're so passionate about that you want to go out there and you want to do it regardless of what happens, win, lose, or draw. There's always going to be some family or someone close that says, well, I don't know, it's not a good time to do that. Or have you checked the industry? Is there money in that? Most people don't do certain things just for money. They're passionate about it. If you really think about it, and I definitely, shout out to all my teachers. If you have someone who has the passion to teach, especially, small children, they're just passionate about teaching, about molding their young minds, seeing what they're curious about, helping to foster growth in children. Then you have to say, you know what? Follow your heart, follow your passion, because that likely is your purpose. That likely is your purpose, to bring some sort of, to help them on their journey, because it's going to be a long journey as they get older. Sometimes family is not going to be there to support. Sometimes they will be. It depends. But you have to be strong enough within yourself to make that determination. If they're not going to support me, it is okay. I'm going to do what I need to do, because this is my purpose and my passion. So these have been pretty much the 4 relationships. I know we kind of focus more on the friendship and the romantic parts of it and things of that nature. But, when it comes to friendships, interpersonal relationships, family relationships, and even the, romantic relationships and things of that nature, we always want to grow. We always want to progress. That doesn't mean that you have to be reading books every day or anything such as that, but you have to kind of grow within yourself, because that's the only way you yourself are going to be the best version of yourself to add value to whatever relationship that you're in. So thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the Into the Cypher podcast. Have a great week. I have been your host, Cypher the MC, the Muhammad Ali of MCs. And as always, before you love anyone else, you must first love yourself. And I am out this thing. Cypher.
Allow me to reintroduce I will not lose.
Enter the Cypher with your light.